Several games that are played internationally in the present age are said to have originated in India, among them being chess and badminton. Polo is said to have originated in Manipur. Polo had its origin in Manipur. This ancient game of stick and ball played on horsebacks was the national game of the once independent kingdom of Manipur. Literally, Sagol means horse and Kangjei, a mallet or a long-handled, wooden-headed hammer for striking a ball. According to the Manipuri Puya, in the mythological age, it was played by local gods like Marjing, Fungjing, etc., belonging to the Manipuri pantheon, who guarded the 8 directions. According to Kangjei roll, an ancient script on Sagol Kangjei, the game originated during the reign of King Kangjei of Manipur, a few centuries before the birth of Christ. It is also on record that the game was played with 7 players on one side, during the reign of King Nangdalai Renpa Kangjei of Manipur, in 33 AD. On the happy occasion of introducing his consort Lai Sun Na to his royal friends. It is commonly accepted that the game became more refined and popular with appropriate rules during the reign of King Kangjei, 1597–1652. Chethar Roll Kumbaba, the Royal Chronicle of Manipur, has many interesting accounts of the game. Apart from it being a game played by every Manipuri, young and old, rich and poor, throughout the kingdom. It was used as a subtle means, in diplomacy, politics, and palace intrigues. It was a very handy tool for making friendship, or for exterminating a foe, equally successfully. While King Pa Kungbei used the game of polo as a diplomatic instrument in 33 AD, for sealing friendships. King La Bunya Chandra, who was killed in 1781, during the progress of an exciting polo match, was the royal victim of polo as a means of palace intrigue. According to the Guinness Book of Records 1992, polo can be traced to origins in Manipur state, India, circa 3100 BC, when it was played as Sagol Kangjei. The game was introduced to the British officers at Kachar, Assam, by the Maharaja of Manipur, Sir Chandra Kirti Singh, 1834–1844. The earliest club was Kachar Club, founded in 1859, in Assam, India. The oldest club still in existence is the Calcutta Polo Club 1862. The game was taken to England from India in 1869, by the 10th Hussars at Aldershot, and the earliest match was played between the 9th Lancers and the 10th Hussars, on Hounslow Heath, Great London, in July 1871. The earliest international match between England and the United States of America was played in 1886. The governing body of the game is the Hurling Home Polo Association, which drew up the first English rules in 1875. Some claim polo to be of Persian origin, where it was played as polu in 535 BC. Some of the Western enthusiasts of the game hold the view that it was introduced into Manipur during the tumultuous period of medieval history, when Southeast Asia was experiencing a mass movement due to pressure from central China. J.N.P. Watson is of the view that polo was picked up from the Chinese by the Tibetans, who named it polu, their word for a ball. And it was most likely that from Tibet, the people of Manipur adopted the game. The Manipurists called it Kangjei Batsio. But they knew it too, as polu. The above view is contradicted by the fact that Manipurists never referred to the game as polu. They always called it Sagol Kangjei. Baji, a Bengali word for betting, was perhaps used by the Manipuri fugitives living in Kachar, where the Bengalis settled in large numbers, for communicating with non-Manipurists. Perhaps also, the Bengali term, chuk-kur, denoting the periods in a polo match, came into use.
The game is played in periods known as chukkers, which are 7 minutes long. At the end of a chukker, play continues for 30 seconds or until a stoppage of play occurs, whichever happens first. Depending on the competition, a game can be played anywhere between 4 and 8 chukkers. High score at the end of time wins.
The two words used in Sagol Kangjei are the products of the historical encounters of the Manipuri kings and princes, with the Bengalis and Assamese living in Kachar. While Prince Murjit was cooling his heels at Kachar, when he had fled from Manipur, its last king, Govinda Chandra, tried to take the favorite polo pony of the Manipuri prince, which cost Govinda Chandra dearly. Murjit vowed to avenge the insult. When he became the king of Manipur, he invaded Kachar and defeated Govinda Chandra. The principality of the Kachar king was turned into a fertile ground for Meitei, or Manipuri infiltration and intrigues. The present Manipur territory of Jiribam may be cited as an indirect product of Murjit's Pony War. Despite its wide contact with the vast regions, stretching from the Bur Rock Valley of Assam to the Trans-Chinwin Valley of Burma, now Myanmar, Manipuri Sagol Kangjei still retains its major indigenous vigor, form and style. There was no exact size of the polo field. However, when Lord Curzon visited Manipur in 1901, he made a measurement of the Impal polo ground, otherwise also known as the Mapal Kangjei Bung, or literally, field for playing Kangjei, short for Sagol Kangjei, situated on the outside of the royal palace compound, and found it to be 225 yards in length, and 110 yards in breadth. In the olden days, there were no goal posts. Goals were scored when the ball crossed the end line of the width of the field. Earlier the number of players in a team was variable, but during the reign of King Kangba, 1597 to 1652, the number was standardized to 7 on one side. The positions were Panjang Ba, or forward; Panjang Chong, or forward number 2; Paul Lark, or midfielder 1; Paul Lark, Chong, or midfielder 2; Long J, or center; Pan Ngak Pa, or full-back; and Pan Ngak Chong, or half-back. During the reign of the king, Pana Kangjei was introduced. 6 panas or social units were formed: Ahal Loop, Nahar Roop, Ka Bum, Lifam, Hidark, Pan Ba, and Port Song Ba. The first 4 were superior, and matches were played amongst them. The last 2 panas could play between themselves. When they played with a combination of players from different teams, it was called Che Re Ka Re. The game starts with teams mounted on ponies, whose heights are normally about 4.5 feet, lining up in the middle of the field, facing each other. And the throwing up of the ball, called Kong Drum, in Manipuri, in the air, with the cry, Hantre, by an official known as the Hantre Hunba, who retreats speedily outside the field after the throw. The procedure is repeated whenever a score is made. The ball is made of seasoned bamboo root. Nowadays, the size of the ball is 4 inches in diameter, 12 inches in circumference, and generally painted white. Kanhu, or the long mallet, used for hitting the ball, is 4 feet 6 inches long. After the hantre, the player can either hit the ball with the stick in the air, or on the ground, or catch it with his hands in the air. In the case of the latter, he can carry the ball with him towards the opposite goal line. And near the goal line, he can either drop the ball on the ground, and hit it, or toss the ball up in the air, and hit it in mid-air, towards the goal line. In the early days, there was hardly any rule against infringements, like crossing the way of the player, on the mount, and hooking the mallet. But now, in the modern version of the game, every player has the right of way, and crossing it is a serious violation of the rules. Crossing the right of way is called Sagol Tukpa, in Manipuri. Maharaja Churachan Singh, 1892-1941, later forbade crossing the right of way, and introduced high row, which is the Manipuri term for deliberate hitting, or hooking the stick of an opponent's pony. The players wear a white dhoti, well tucked up, above the knees. A kokyet, Manipuri word for turban, held by a kadung chet, or chin strap, is worn as headgear. Normally, a short-sleeved jacket, having the same color as the kadung chet, is worn. Kongyom, or leg guard, protects the shins and calves. Kuning kong, protects the heels and the ankles. The traditional stirrup has a flat base, and the foothold is quite narrow. A player places his naked toe, not the arch of his sole, in the stirrup. A simple snaffle, known in Manipuri as chunama ru, is used as reins. The saddle has a deep seat, and a grip. A distinctive feature of the Manipuri saddle is the naktong, a huge curled leather hung on both sides of the saddle, and so placed, as to guard the legs of the player. The saddle is made of enameled leather, mounted on a wooden frame, known as ukongke. A product, from the keu tree, is the enamel used for this purpose. A whip, made of rawhide, is hung from the left wrist of a player. The stick is made of seasoned cane, and the mallet is generally made of uyong or oak, a hard local wood. Hitting the ball needs dexterous wrist work, with additional kinetic force, from the swing of the arm. Though the traditional saddle exerts a heavy burden on the pony, as the seat is a little far away from the center of gravity of the animal. A player, firmly placed on the deep seat of the saddle, can bend his body and swing the stick left and right without losing his grip and balance. Manipuri horsemanship grew from the relationship of the people with the equine family. The Métis, the predominant community in the Manipur Valley, have domesticated ponies from time immemorial. The Manipuri pony played an important part in the process of the development of the Kingdom of Manipur. The expansion and consolidation of this kingdom depended on the use of the cavalry, constituted by the Métis people on horseback, one of the most fearsome forces in the northeastern region of India and Upper Burma. The institutional recognition of the domestication, care, and official use of the pony was the duty of the Sagol Kangjei, the supervisor for the upkeep of the horse, in the administrative hierarchy. The horse, or the pony, became a weapon of war, and an instrument for the expansion of the kingdom.